Welcome to the Bars Ankle High, your weekly ADHD podcast that explores life's slow bars with wit and wisdom. I'm Katie.
I'm Garrett.
And this is episode 81.
Do we have any housekeeping items?
Nope, no housekeeping this week. But as a reminder, our unpaid intern Birdsona merch is live on our merch website, so you can check it out at bit.ly/anklehighmerch.
It's the best. It's just the best.
And make sure you're following us on Instagram because every week we do that episode title contest where you have a chance to win a podcast sticker. So I try to do it so that a new person wins every week. Sometimes there isn't a winner because nobody picks the right one, or the people who do have already won. But make sure you're following us on Instagram because I post that every Tuesday evening. And that's in our stories, not our feed.
Yeah, and then I laugh out loud because I never know what the episode titles are.
Yes, that's our division of labor.
The other day, I was like cackling by myself sitting there.
Oh, the episode options or the title options for episode 77 were like probably the most unhinged ones. I've never been so excited to post an episode contest.
I was really hoping it was going to be fapping in a medical setting, but I was a little disappointed. But that's okay. It was still good.
It was a tough race. I mean, I was gonna go with a brown eye epiphany, because of your comment of like, what could that have possibly reminded you of? The way you said that.
Oh God, we crack ourselves
you were
up.
So done with my shit.
Oh God,
it was just so perfect.
It was funny. That was a funny one.
Yeah. But it is a fun contest, and you kind of I like it because it kind of gives you something to think about when you're listening to the episode of like the different moments.
Sorry,
what you do?
I tried to mute myself and I accidentally hit the camera button. Whoops.
Now we know what buttons do, and but as you listen, you can kind of hear all the different points that inspired a possible name for the episode, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's very funny.
So episode 81, what are we talking about today, Garrett?
I thought we would have a little like kind of anecdotal discussion about body image and ADHD. And I thought it was kind of topical because I feel like we've both undergone, I think, you know, when you look back like lifetime, we've both undergone like a lot of physical changes, but especially like in the last year, which, you know, always causes like kind of change up in your body image.
Yeah.
And it's post holidays. So I thought it just might be a good time to have this chat. And I think too, like being, you know, we're both millennials. We came of age in an era where the media was like super fucking toxic.
Oh, really? I thought it was like really productive.
I thought it was really healthy and balanced.
Yeah, just look at like Amanda Bynes and Britney Spears. They're doing
great. They're thriving. And now, you know, social media and filters, and then you add in, you know, ADHD, and it's just like a very, I think, complicated relationship that people have with their body image. You know, those perceptions that they hold about their bodies and how comfortable they feel in their bodies and how attractive they think that they are. So I think ADHD kind of gives it an extra layer of complexity, I guess. I know
because we're so healthy.
It's because we're so healthy. Everything is so balanced and nothing is ever out of whack.
I knew it.
I was right this whole time. And, like, we've talked in the past how, ADHD, there's links between things like disordered eating, but there's
Yep.
also, I mean, again, anecdotally, um, an overlap with body dysmorphic disorder.
Mhm.
Um, again, not a lot of attention has been paid to this, so there's not a lot of scientific literature, but it's something where you can find articles where, like, a therapist has written an article talking
Mhm.
about these things that they've noticed, and I feel like there's kind of a lot of little factors that contribute to this, like, I think ADHD, the we're kinda hard on ourselves.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
we've talked
Especially
about.
if you're undiagnosed, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
like we weren't diagnosed until we were in our 20s and 30s.
Mhm.
So it's a lifetime of thinking I'm doing it wrong.
Everybody else is
So
doing it right. Everybody else figured it out,
right.
and I
So
can't get
when
my
it
shit
comes to
together.
like weight loss or physical fitness or fashion or
Mhm.
whatever thing you feel like you're not getting right, it's so easy to be so mean to yourself and like combine that with rejection sensitivity. So like the moment somebody says something to you and it hits you the wrong way, that's going to live in your, at least for me, it lives in my head rent free for way too long. Uh,
Eternity, I think is the word you're
yes.
looking for.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there
Eternity.
was a moment in first grade where I was wearing like an outfit that had like a top with like
Mhm.
matching leggings, of course, because it was the 90s.
Yeah.
And the top was like a cowgirl theme and had like these fringe like pieces on it.
Yep.
And I fucking
Kind of like
loved
your
it.
new boots.
And truly. And some person, I know their name, but I'm not going to call them out here, but was like said something like, "Well, your shirt is stupid." Like first day of school. I am 36 years old. That happened when I was 6. Like
You're stupid. Yeah,
so, but it's
I
that kind of thing
definitely,
where it's
yeah.
like, yeah, you have those moments where it's like, and of all the things, like why is that patterned in my head?
Yeah.
So I can remember that. I can't remember the name of somebody who just introduced themselves to me,
Yeah.
but I remember that. Okay, sure.
I have been listening to a bunch of music that I haven't listened to in, I don't know, since I was a teenager,
Oh, that's the best though.
and I can remember the
Yes.
lyrics
And,
to
like,
this
where the beat
shit.
drops or, like, the key changes. Oh,
I forget basic things
yeah.
literally 100 times a day, but holy shit, living rent free in my head until I die are these lyrics that I don't ever need to reference or know. Um,
So true.
ugh, it's craziness. Um, and I think too, something that's really common overlap with ADHD is depression, which
Yep.
can cause, changes in your diet, binge eating behavior, or overly restrictive eating or not eating because you don't have the energy to make yourself food, or, not exercising or moving because you're depressed and it's too hard. Um, so I think that that definitely is going to probably make things worse. Um, I think something else, especially with ADHD, is hyperfocus. Um, so I think that it's really common, um, for someone with ADHD, and I know I've definitely done it, to hyper focus on either how your body looks or how your clothes are fitting or body checking yourself in the mirror 400 times a day
Yep.
or hyper focusing on something you're self-conscious about, so you're like obsessively thinking about it.
Mhm.
Um and I think it almost is like a negative dopamine hit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you wind up with like almost like OCD like behaviors where
Mhm.
you're just it's like interfering with your brain's ability to think about other things
Yes. Yeah.
because you're so hung up on, I just can't get over that these pants aren't buttoning.
Yes. And I think one of the ways that medication really helped me was that it helped me get over that distraction, I
Mhm.
guess, because I would be sitting at work and thinking like, "Oh, these pants are so tight, blah, da, 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 I can't think of this, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like thinking about how I look and why I don't look better and why I don't look like the model on the website who's like modeling the clothing that I purchased and like
Mhm.
why, it doesn't fit me that way. If it's wide leg, shouldn't it be skimming the body? And like all these different questions, it kind of takes that away. But I notice it less with like clothing and like that sort of thing, and more with like, I don't pick at my face anymore because I would,
That's so interesting, yeah.
yes. And I think it's that it's like a stimming thing
Mhm.
because it's like a tensile action. And I would spend an hour in front of the mirror as a grown woman picking at like a blackhead to the point like I ended up with a scab on my face
Mhm.
because I was like gouging at it. And it's just, like it serves no purpose, but like you're getting like I think the pathways in our brain are similar, whether it's a negative experience or a positive experience,
Yep.
because for our brains, the way that they're wired, our brain doesn't differentiate. The same way that we have this like hyperactive amygdala response, our amygdala doesn't differentiate
Mhm.
between like an actual emergency and what it's treating as an emergency.
Yeah.
So, same thing, it doesn't treat like I'm going to think about the girl from first grade forever, even though that wasn't a good time.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, remember that time we're remembering so good.
Well, it's like they say, about I mean, they say this, it's just like one of those old adages. So it's not differentiating between neurotypical or neurodivergent, but that you are going to remember 1,000 more negative things that have been said to you than any of the positive things that have been said to you.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just, I mean, I can think of mean things people have said to me since I was a little kid. Can I
Mhm.
remember some of the compliments I've been given? Oh no, why would I store that in my brain?
Right.
And I think that's been a something as an adult, and really since doing this podcast, I'm trying to invest more in is like, when somebody says something like that, like kind of like filing that away. So when I'm sad or having a hard time or struggling with that at some point in the future, I can kind of like recall, hey,
Mhm.
remember when so and so said that you were really good at that?
So
to
it's
try to
almost like
try
the
and like soothe
tagline for our
myself.
podcast.
Yeah.
Remember our sign off.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Um
But no, I agree. I think and one of the struggles I think that I've had with my own body image is that it has fluctuated so much across my
yeah,
life
same.
that like I've never been the type of person to maintain my body weight.
Mhm.
And like I just don't naturally maintain my body weight. I
Me
have to
either.
like really think about it. I've always had to be conscious of it. And um as a result, now granted, I was dieting when I was in high school. I was on Weight
Mhm.
Watchers. So like it's a learned behavior, but at the same time, it's like one of those things where at it can turn into the like, well, you might feel good today, but you better like still make it to the gym because you know what can happen if you don't go.
Right, that's just gonna start and then you'd get into that loop, you're like, "If I don't go, then I'm gonna skip the next couple of days, and then this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna happen, and then I'm gonna regain
Yeah.
everything that I've lost." Um, yeah, I've also had a lot of fluctuation, I think, I've had a couple periods of my life where it was pretty steady, and I was maintaining without too much effort, um
Yeah, but then you got pregnant.
And then yeah, like and that's what's crazy is, like, so right before I was looking through my phone, I was looking for pictures of that bag. I was
Oh, yeah,
telling
yeah.
Katie about a bag for, them to use while we were traveling, so I was looking, for pictures of it, and I was looking at pictures right before I got pregnant, and I was like, "Wow." I was at it was the smallest adult size I had been, but I had gotten to the point where I could easily maintain it, and it felt comfortable, and I wasn't like, we had talked at one point about, like, the noise.
Yeah.
The food noise and the exercise noise, like all of this like obsessive thinking, like I wasn't doing that. I was just at this like really healthy point physically and mentally. Like physically, I felt good. I was, getting lots of exercise, and I was, everything in moderation really. Like I was still enjoying the stuff I like. I was still drinking wine or getting a cocktail and having dessert, but it was just like I was like cruising along, and it was a very stable, probably the healthiest relationship I've had with my body and my body image up until that point. Um and then got pregnant, and like literally a week after I found out I was pregnant, my pants stopped fitting.
Yeah, you were
Like
mad, I remember.
switch flipped, pants don't fit, bras don't fit. Um and I initially found it like very triggering almost.
Mhm.
Like going through was like, man, like it took me all of these years, because it was like years. I lost a significant amount of weight, but it took me I was losing it like 10 pounds a year. So
Right.
it was very slow, um, and like fairly consistent. But it was just one of those like, okay, so you start doing this, and then like, I would go through periods where I would maybe, the weather was really good for a few months while I was running a lot, or, skiing in the winter, whatever it was. And I was just incorporating additional things, and kind of just like getting in a groove. And um I then was like not able to do any of that exercise because I didn't have the energy, and my body was like rapidly changing.
Yeah.
Um and my shape was changing. So all of these clothes that I had saved from when I had been a different size didn't fit because my
Mm.
shape was different. So
So
it
then you
was
feel even
like
bigger than you were.
right.
Yeah.
And it was like nothing I would buy was like fitting. It was either fitting awkwardly, or it was like way too big or way too tight or whatever. For somebody who like I already had sensory things about clothes,
Yep.
and how clothes fit. Then I'm going through this period where it's like I'm still having to go to work every day. Nobody knows I'm pregnant because we're not telling anybody yet.
Right.
But I also can't keep my fucking eyes open because I was so tired and
And
none of my
what we
clothes
did at
fit.
work was so interesting.
Yeah,
So there's also the
it's also that the constant stimulating work that I'm doing, staring at a computer all day, and it was just like it was really rough, and I was really struggling. And then it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm showing, people know. It was warm so I could wear like dresses, and
right.
I was good, and that middle part was fine, and at the very end you're just like, nobody's good at the end of a pregnancy.
Right. Especially
Um
not in August.
yeah. And I think too, like everybody's always like, "Oh, all that weight comes flying off right after you have the baby." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm not gonna worry about it." And I was very good about like I was getting on the scale backwards at the doctors because I didn't want to be going through that like, "Oh my god, I need to be,
But you
doing."
didn't check, like, when you get the email saying, like, "Your patient profile's been updated and, like, a new document's been added." You didn't oh,
Nope, I wouldn't
I check
look.
it even though I do look at the scale. Like, I wanna see what my doctor wrote about me.
Nope, I wouldn't look, and
They
I was
secretly wrote I'm like a troll.
they're like, they're like putting all these observations at the end, like, "We fucking hate her."
Katie is
Katie's like,
kind
"I
of a piece
knew
of
it."
shit.
Katie's like, "I knew it. I knew they felt that way. I was right the whole time."
They hated my fringe shirt.
Yeah, no, I was stepping on the scale backwards because like early in my pregnancy I did, because you have to see like every practitioner at the practice that you have
Yeah.
familiarity with everybody, because you don't know, who you're gonna see every time. And she did make a comment like, do you know, like basically, do you know how to make healthy choices? And it was so triggering for me because I was like, girlfriend, fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
yes, first of all, I am a woman in my 30s. I was a healthy weight before getting pregnant. Like
Yeah.
it was just like so
And
insulting to me.
everybody knows you don't smoke meth, you chew it. So leave me
Yes.
alone. God.
I only did snortables, no injectables.
Snortables.
Yeah, it was just, like it, like, really
It's
pissed
like
me off.
potent potables from
Yeah,
Jeopardy. Snortables.
potables. Um, yeah, it was just, like it was just very much a struggle, and then, when I had the baby, I thought, "Okay, I'm gonna go home, the weight's gonna fly off, and then I'm gonna be, breastfeeding or pumping or whatever, and that'll make the weight come right off too."
Yeah.
However, for some people, um, lactation makes you extremely hungry and extremely thirsty all the time. So we had a conversations about that where I was like, normally I'd be eating, say, not that I was like really counting calories, but I'd be eating like, 1,600 calories a day. And
Right.
now I'm eating like 2,200 calories a day
Right.
because if I don't, I'm going to starve. And I couldn't restrict because then my supply would go down.
Well, and I think the other thing with that that's so hard is that you're feeding this baby plus pumping plus taking care of the baby plus taking care of the house and your dogs and
Hmm.
yourself sporadically. But like the time it takes to eat that much when you're not used to it
Hmm.
is exorbitant anyway. But the
Yeah.
time that it would take for you to eat that much in a quote healthy way while doing all of those things,
Oh, there's no,
it's like
yeah.
almost impossible.
Who
Like
can be
I mean,
bothered?
yeah, I mean like look at like not that you're eating as much as The Rock was eating, but like when he posts like what he eats
Yeah.
during a day when he's like in a cutting phase even or a
Yeah.
bulking phase especially, like it's fucking insane. It's like the guy eats, shits, works out, eats, shits, works out. Like
Yeah.
that's his whole life. And he like wakes up at midnight to eat more so that he can make sure that he's eaten enough. Like it's just
Jesus Christ.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So like yeah, it's so then you end up saying like pizza it is or lasagna or,
Oh, for
something that's
sure.
like
Yeah, yeah.
super calorie dense because how else are you going to actually get enough
Mhm.
calorie like yeah, at the end of the day, it's obviously better to have more vegetables and fruits and whole grains, but also at the end of the day, my body will use what I give it to
Right.
like do what it needs to do. Yeah, it's probably
Right.
not the best, but if I'm not like this isn't my lifestyle. It's my
Yeah.
lifestyle for now, but it's so hard when like even so before like right as I was starting the GLP-1 medications last May was also the week that I was moving. So, I
Oof.
had a meeting with my nutritionist um, I think the week after, maybe 2 weeks after, and I didn't tell her that I was going on a GLP-1 medication. But I was talking about the move, and so she was like, "Well, how is that?" Because that's always kind of like a tough time to, like, maintain your eating habits. I
Mhm.
was like, "It was fine." Like, I'd get, like, a Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell, but I'd ask them to put, like, extra vegetables on it and, whatever, and she was like, "Yeah, but that's fine, Katie."
Mhm.
Like, you're in the middle of a move, like, you didn't have, like, a Crunchwrap and a burrito and nachos and all these other things,
Every day
like
for a month.
right, like,
Yeah.
having those like, that's what fast food is for those moments where, like, you
Right.
need something quick
Right.
and, like, you're just eating it until you're full, and then you don't like, if you finish it, you finish it, if you don't, you don't. But, like, it took me 2.5 years of going to a dietitian to,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
figure that out and, like, get more okay with it.
Yep.
Um, and even now, like, I still will struggle being like, "Well, I'm really supposed to be adding vegetables to this." And the reality is that, like, with this medication, I can really only eat so much, and I'm so disinterested in food a lot of the time that,
Mhm.
like, I kind of have to, I've had to force myself to get into a routine of eating dinner because if I have breakfast and lunch and my lunch is usually like a normal quote, "normal sized lunch," I don't necessarily need to eat dinner. I don't feel hungry.
Mhm.
So, like, not even like girl dinner level hungry, like, I'll I'll be fine. Like,
Mhm.
it's just nothing it's not something that, like, strikes me, and so then it's like that thing where it's just so easy to be, like, mean to yourself. Stop.
Oh, for sure, and it's like, I I even had issues, like, with my palate changing, like,
Mm.
I mean, I'm a vegetarian. I was eating really healthy before I got pregnant, and I was
But too many eggs.
yeah, definitely too many eggs. Um, but I was like, n I didn't want vegetables.
Mhm.
Like, the thought of eating a salad was like, absolutely not. So,
Yeah.
then I also had this issue of, like, my tastes changing and, like, not coming back to I mean, I'm getting back to, like, my normal way
Oh,
of
really?
eating. Yeah. Um,
Like, your taste buds stayed changed, or it's just, like, a matter of, like, getting into that habit again?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Oh, okay.
There was just a while where I was, like also, like, trying to eat a salad when you've got a baby is hard.
Mhm.
Um, but I was not anticipating I guess it's just such a subjective thing and everybody has such a different experience. I just figured, okay, I'll have the baby. Whatever weight I gained, most of it's going to come off in that first, 6 weeks after. And then, I'll just pick up where I left off and just get back right back on the horse and, doing everything I was doing. So I had an expectation I was gonna have the baby, come home from the hospital,
Mm.
and, just be able to kinda jump right back into it,
Yeah.
and I'd have a bunch of weight come off on its own, and instead what happened is I lost some, when I got home, but then wound up regaining
Mm.
because I was so hungry, um,
Yeah.
and, you're too tired to be exercising, and I also needed, like I'm still in physical therapy.
Well, and so that's what I was just gonna say. So, like, not only are you too tired to be exercising plus physical therapy, you're too tired to be thinking about what you're eating.
For
Like
sure. For
when
sure.
I'm tired as a non-postpartum person and a person who's never been pregnant, I'll that is when I make my quote worst choices when it comes to food, because I just need something easy, and like my brain, having ADHD, is looking for something that gives that stimulus. So typically something that's high in sugar or high in fat that will help it stay awake, because I'm
Mhm.
trying to like make my brain stay awake for whatever reason.
Yep.
And like I need to do that, and so I'm doing that with food because I know that I'll stay awake when I'm eating. Like I not since I've been a baby have I fallen asleep like mid chew. So like it's just kind of that thing where, again, when I'm in that spot where I'm already tired, so like those coping skills or whatever I have built up to be
Right.
nice to myself are already like
Depleted.
at a minimum. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I'm eating Cheetos or pizza or whatever,
Mhm.
then I'm going to feel crappy about myself. Plus, like, however that makes my body actually feel. Like, if I'm eating something that makes me feel bloated
Yep.
or, makes me feel like, ugh, and then I don't want to move. Like, it's just this self fulfilling prophecy. But, like,
100%,
that
yeah.
negative self talk cycle is the reason that when my doctor diagnosed me with ADHD, he said, like, I'm keeping you on your anxiety medication because that negative self-talk is super common and really hard to like overcome.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
only on like 5 milligrams of Lexapro. I'm on a very, very teeny tiny dose,
Mhm.
but it at least helps take the edge off. And there are
Right.
times where I'm like, man, maybe I should go up to 10 because like
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely tough, especially with like, and then like we talked about a few weeks ago with like dating and everything that happens with that. Like if even if you're in like an extended, a long-term relationship and you kind of get rejected, like you're in the mood but your partner's not, and
Mhm.
you can take that personally if you're feeling some type of way about your body to begin with.
Mhm.
Um yeah, it can just be really tough. It can be
Or
really
this
really
time of
hard.
year, if you've got seasonal depression and it's hard to get outside anyway, can
Mhm.
just make it worse. I know, like,
And everything, like when it's wintertime, everything you're wearing is bulky and baggy and like it's not exactly
mm,
form fitting. So even when you are checking yourself in the mirror, you're probably looking bigger than you
mhm,
actually are anyway.
mhm,
So like one of the things, like the body dysmorphia things that I struggle with is like what I look like in a winter coat versus like what I look like naked right before I get in the mirror or right before I get in the shower. I
Mhm.
don't walk into the mirror anymore. And
The confidence
um
of, and then I walk into the mirror.
but like it's hard because like I think maybe it goes with like that poor working memory thing or like kind of time blindness because my it's hard for me to separate Katie with clothes on and Katie right before she gets in the shower. Like
Mhm.
even if I feel like I'm looking really good, like in my birthday suit lately, if I catch myself in the mirror right before I walk into work or the windows on the front of the building at work, which are like
Mhm.
notoriously bitchy to people,
Mhm.
um, like, I feel like I look like a turtle
Yep.
who's like managed to trick people into thinking that she's a human.
Yeah.
So like it's just it's so frustrating sometimes. And then yeah, like trying to like shop online for things, especially right now where we're at with fashion, where everything's like kind of in flux. I know how skinny jeans fit me. I know how a bootcut jean fits me or straight leg jean fits me. I don't know how these like wide leg, I mean, frankly, they look like mom jeans to me from like the 90s.
Mhm.
I saw somebody again on TikTok saying like I'm calling it the millennial jean and I was like that's a mom jean. That's that's what like the mom from the Santa Claus one wore to the soccer game that her son was in. That's that's got Fupa control right there is what that has. That's I mean that's a good gene, but the cut, the completely straight leg, like not a wide leg, not a boot cut, that's not doing it for me. But it's also that thing where now I'm like so for this trip I'm like trying to get like linen pieces because it's going to be in the 80s
Mhm.
and I want things that are versatile but also really really lightweight for packing purposes and are easy to pack and don't look terrible if they're like a little bit wrinkled or are easy enough to get the wrinkles out of. And I'm like looking for these things and I'm like I don't know like how not only I don't know how it's going to fit me because it's a different cut than I'm used to. I'm not used to like boxier cuts, but also I am still losing weight. I don't
Mhm.
know where my body is going to be in 6, 7 months.
Yep.
And so I'm like trying to guess because at the end of the day, I also know when I was where I think I'll probably be at the time we're going to Europe. I know what size I was when I was that weight before.
Mhm.
So I can like kind of guess, but I don't I mean, I'm also 10 years older. So
Yeah.
I might lose weight in different places. It might be a similar situation where like the shape my body is just changing shape. It's just aging. So
Mhm.
my hips are going to be more pronounced and um my chest is going to be less willing to play nice with others. And it just is what it
Hanging a
is.
little lower. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So it's like those types of things and it's like I feel like now especially with aging like the fit on clothing is so dependent on my bra choice
Yeah.
that like
Mhm. Mhm.
it
Mhm.
never used to be that way. Like it used to be like a bra is a bra. Wear what you
Yes.
like your shirt's going to fit you the same no matter what bra you wear.
Or I could
Not
just,
the
like,
case
throw
anymore.
on, like, a soft, comfortable thing, and I could, like, get away with it.
Yeah.
And my boobs just got so gigantic, like, between, like, weight gain from pregnancy and, lactating and, my ribs being flared out,
Mm,
nothing fits.
yeah.
Nothing fits. Like, my shape is completely different from how it was. So then and I mean, how common, like, if you're in this hyper focused state
Yes.
with your weight or your body image and how something's fitting, when you combine that with clothes not fitting you that you bought, It like it's like it leads to its own spiral.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now where it's like I don't really have a ton of clothes that I can be wearing, like, out, and I have to really get myself out of the it takes work every single day for me to be patient enough with myself and
Mhm.
forgiving enough, like, "You'll get back there. It's just gonna take time, like, it took you 9 months to grow a baby."
Mhm.
You have to, like, be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
But my immediate reaction is I don't wanna see anybody. I don't want anybody, well, no, let me put it this way. I don't want anybody to see me
Right.
because I look drastically different than I did a year and a half ago, and that's a really hard thing.
Well, because I think it goes the other way too, right? So, like, in your head, you're still the you from last August or,
Right,
the August before you got pregnant.
right.
And but then, like, you see yourself like, you try to put on clothes and you can't get your pants up even to try to button them. And so
Yeah.
it's like a record scratch, broken glass moment
You don't
with the image
recognize
of yourself
yourself.
in your head. Yes.
Yeah,
So then it's like,
100%.
wait a minute. Now I have to like reconcile these two things that, you know, y- you want to be able to reconcile. And like logically, like you said, like it took 9 months to grow this baby. It took way more than 9 months to lose weight initially. I
Mhm.
have PCOS. Weight loss is challenging for me in and of itself. But, I
Right.
also have so many other things going on right now than I ever did when I was trying to lose weight before.
Mhm.
So, like, logically, yes, I can reconcile those things, but that initial emotional response is not logic and it never will be.
And it's I think some of it is, like, age and maturity, but
Mm,
getting past that. So, like, taking
yeah.
that thought and then processing it, as opposed to before, you would have that thought, or I would have that thought and run with it
Yes.
in a bad way, to where
Right.
it turned into, "Let me try on other things that I know are on the smaller side." It's like to hurt my own feelings. Like, I'm just gonna try these things on that don't fit to just dig a deeper hole for myself so I just feel worse.
Yeah, or have that impulsive reaction where it's like, "Well, I'm just gonna throw it out then because 'cause I'll never be that size ever again, so
Yeah.
why would I
Yeah.
do this to myself?"
Yep.
I'm and, have these values attached to it, like, "I'm worthless, I'm not worth it, I'm a bad person because I have a different body shape than I used to." Like, things that, again, like, when you're in a rested place, a well-fed place, a like, where you have all your other, like, physical needs met, then you can take the time to, like, meet your
Mhm.
emotional needs on those things.
Mhm.
But, I mean, it's even, like, regular ADHD, like, you have burnout, you've got work stuff, you've got
Mhm.
relationship stuff, like, there's so many other things going on that, like, you catch me at the wrong moment. It's like when you catch your belt loop on a doorknob and, like, it
Oh,
sends you over the edge, and
yes.
there's no reason that that should be, like, the cherry on top of a shitty day, but it fucking is, and that's, like, the straw that broke the camel's back. It's the same kind of thing, and, like, I recently purchased some stuff because Dick's was having a sale, and so I was like, "Well," because 'cause I'll wear my golf pants as pants at work,
Mhm.
because 'cause they're super stretchy and comfy and they have pockets, and,
Perfect.
but the ones that I've had for several years don't fit me anymore, which is, like, a good thing, but I need new
Mhm.
ones, and so, again, I'm, like, in these in between sizes, so I'm like, I mean, I don't wanna get something that, like, definitely fits me right now because I know that in a month, I'll be several pounds lighter,
Mhm.
and then these pants won't fit me again. So, anyway, I'm kind of buying on the smaller side of where I am at the moment,
Mhm.
um, strictly because of the medicine that I'm taking. If I wasn't taking this medicine, I would not be shopping that way.
Mhm.
But, the all of the stuff came yesterday. And, so I'm, like, trying it on, and, like, it's kinda snug. Like, one of the pairs of pants I got, I could probably wear to work fine. They'd be a little
Mhm.
snug, but it wouldn't be I wouldn't be, like, flashing my labia to people with, like, a gross moose knuckle situation.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah. You're welcome. Um, it's called professionalism, okay? Learn about it.
It's called occupational defiance. Thank you.
Um, but, the, uh but some of the other things I got, like, were definitely like, "Oh, I I can try these on. I can't sit down in these."
Where it's like aspirational.
Yes. And I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
a pair
yeah.
of golf shorts that, were a different brand than what I usually get, and so they're a little bit smaller, they're cut a little bit slimmer. So I could get them up, but I couldn't zip them. And, so again, I was like, realistically, by the end of summer, these should be fine, whatever.
Mhm.
But it was one of those things where, like, thank goodness that I was in a good spot because, like, I've also been that person where, like, I've tried to put on a pair of pants and even my abusive ex, like, walked in once and I was, like, kicking jeans off of myself and, like, ripping them off and, like, throwing them in the corner, and, like, he said something to me where he was like, "Oh, no, I you looked mad. Like, you looked like you weren't having a good time, so I wasn't gonna ask you whatever mundane bullshit question he didn't need to ask me anyway."
Mhm.
Um, but it was the sort of thing where I was like, "Yeah, because my fucking pants don't fit."
Yeah.
Like, and it like, this was pre-diagnosis for me, but it was that sort of thing where I had that reaction where I was like, "I'm just a slob, I'm disgusting, blah, 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 blah," and, like,
Yep.
this, like,
I knew I shouldn't have
spiral.
had that sandwich that I had
Yes.
yesterday. That's gonna set me back. Now I gotta, like, it's I mean, it's exhausting and it's unproductive.
Yeah.
Um,
And it is so frustrating because it's
yeah.
so learned from the media that we grew up with.
But also the sizing of things.
Oh, well, yeah, there's
I
that
mean,
too.
I got a pair of jeans from American Eagle that fit me. So I was like, "Great, you know what? I like these jeans. I can manage to fit my Fupa in them, and even if I lose weight, again, like an aspirational thing, I know that, like, I'll still be okay." I mean, and I'm somebody who prefers baggy clothes. So
Mhm.
talking about that sensory thing with clothes, it is killing me that I am
Yeah.
not in baggy clothes all the time. That is such a struggle for me. Um, but I then ordered like another 1 or 2 pairs of like a slightly different cup, but like pretty similar, same size. They don't fit.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
It drives me nuts.
trying to not spiral
Yeah.
and really beat myself up because I'm like, I already don't recognize myself a lot of the time. I look in
Mhm.
the mirror and I'm like, fuck, I look old. I look tired. I haven't had water. I'm, this is bad. I haven't seen the sun and I don't even know how long. Um, so as I'm like, trying to kind of put the pieces together again and okay, let me like kind of pull myself back together because I'm like just getting to the point where I can do that now. One of the things that would make me feel more like myself is being able to dress like myself,
Mm.
which I can't do.
Yeah.
I can't fit any of my old clothes. I don't want to buy a ton of new clothes
Right.
because I don't want to stay where I am. And it's not even a number thing. It's when I was at the point where I didn't have the noise and I just felt comfortable. And I think that's what it was. It was just a comfort. I wasn't constantly pulling at my clothes and adjusting things, and I could sit comfortably in what I was wearing. And um, now I'm struggling with that again, and it is triggering. It makes me think about times where I've struggled with this before, and
Mhm.
it just like pulls you back into different places that you've been in your life.
Yeah.
And it's just it's tough, and I think I was not. You just never know how it's gonna go, and I was not expecting my body to have, and I have to like break it down. This is not the reaction I thought my body was going to have to this.
Mhm.
Um, So, I did do a little bit of reading about this topic, and obviously we know same bullshit as they're gonna say every time. Medication controlling your ADHD can help maybe off
Mhm.
some of these issues you're having. different types of therapy, mindfulness. But one of the things they were talking about redirecting. So I started reading about different types of like nervous system, like resets that you can do. So I thought it would be
Oh,
helpful to go through those.
yeah, that sounds great.
So one was breathing exercises, and they said sometimes it's as simple as just like a big sigh, like just taking in a big breath and like letting it out slowly, but doing whatever type of, and we talk about that with comm strips a lot, that they have like the little guided thing that you can do.
Yeah,
I know like I had the Calm app on my phone, and then I canceled my membership, and then they offered me a lifetime membership for a better price. So I did the lifetime membership.
the
And now
lifetime membership's the way to go.
it's
For
awesome. And
sure.
you get
I
all these
have
different
that.
types of guided meditation that are great.
Mhm.
So meditation and breathing exercises was one that they recommended. Um, moving. So whether you're getting up and stretching to release some tension, or
Oh,
you're
so, like,
going
not
for a
like buying
walk.
a new house kind of moving.
No, not that kind. In fact, they said that that would be the
Fake your
opposite.
death, escape the country,
Start
start a new
over.
life.
Yes.
That will cure your body image.
Witness protection. Um, going for a walk. I know I follow this page called Big Time Adulting on Instagram,
Mhm.
and she will literally just have like a dance break and just dances like an idiot in her kitchen, or wherever. Um, so doing a physical activity can help release tension and kind of help your body feel more relaxed and kind of help you get out of that funk that you're in.
Mhm.
A weighted blanket can activate your parasympathetic nervous system with that deep pressure touch.
Mhm.
I know I fucking love a good weighted blanket personally. I
Yeah,
know
weighted blankets are nice.
during the 2020 election results, which took I don't know, like a week and added a good 20 years onto my life.
Yeah.
I
My
at one
screen
point
report on my phone that week was, like, insane. My phone was like, "Girl, you good?"
it was like,
Like,
please stop.
"Put your phone down.
It
Stop
was
refreshing
so
MSNBC."
bad. And I remember at one point I sat on my couch with a weighted blanket and watched The Parent Trap.
Oh,
I was just
the
like,
original one
oh no, the
or the new
Lindsay
one?
Lohan one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so that was one of the things that they mentioned, which, big fan. Um, Another thing it said is singing or laughing. It says that both of those can stimulate the vagus nerve.
Like the
Um,
Rosanna skit where she's just like,
so I was actually thinking about in Brooklyn Nine-Nine when they put everybody on the night shift and Holt's trying to make everybody feel better. And he was like, science says if you just smile, and they're all sitting there in night shift, just like, and then they start fake laughing, and it's like so unhinged. Um, that's what that made me think of. But they said it actually can stimulate the vagus nerve and can help you ultimately feel more relaxed, and increase your intake of oxygen, which can also help.
okay.
Another thing they recommended was giving yourself like a massage or a hug, rubbing your temples or your neck, like that cramp cream from Some
Mm,
Days, I think is great for that because it smells so
it
nice.
does smell so good.
And it can give you like kind of a sense of comfort and security, like even just wrapping your arms around yourself.
Mhm.
Um, they're talking about EFT. This is a tapping emotional freedom technique. I went to a therapist years ago that called it thought field therapy, but it's these different pressure points that you tap to like refocus yourself.
Okay.
Which
That almost sounds like the EMDR stuff.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just finding there's like different there was like a whole list of like different places that you could tap.
Mhm.
Um One thing that they said was actually putting your feet on the earth, like barefoot, like standing barefoot. Just
Mhm.
having that grounding connection can help calm your nervous system. Green time, we've talked about in the past, like literally just being outside, even if you're not going for a walk, sitting in the
Mhm.
sun, sitting and getting some fresh air for a little bit, feeling a breeze, like that could help you reset. A cold shower can like kind of jolt your nervous system and reduce stress. I personally would rather step into traffic than get into a cold shower.
I'll do cold showers in the summer when it's super fucking hot.
I can do cool. I can never do cold. Like I read a
Well,
thing, they're like, "Oh, it's
okay,
the
yeah.
best thing for you ever is a cold shower." I don't care what it's gonna do for me. I won't.
I mean, I
I
don't do,
refuse.
like, ice cold, but I'll do cool where it feels cold on my scalp because it always
Yeah.
feels colder on my head.
Yeah, it's, I can't.
I'll
Uh,
even do that actually, when we were talking about the hygiene episode, how I would, like, wash my hair only, like, I'd bend
mhm.
over the side of the tub and wash my
I can
hair.
do that with cool.
I do that with cool water,
Yeah,
and it really when it's really hot out, that is a good feeling.
but cold water on my back or, like, on my chest, I will step into traffic instead. I did read one time, and they recommend it for little kids, but I just feel like it works for adults too. Taking a warm shower and having a popsicle at the same time.
Hmm,
The difference in temperature is supposed to be good, but it is also supposed to provide like a very calming, like nervous system reset. Um, sleep, obviously, if your brain is rested, um, it's going to help you be more regulated. That helps with stress. Chewing on ice or drinking like ice cold water.
mhm,
And stimming was the other thing they recommended. Um, so those can all kind of, when you're trapped in that loop, stepping away from it and doing one of these things to kind of reset your nervous system, I think is a good tool that you can have available to yourself.
mm, yeah,
So yeah, it's I think body image is just a really hard thing. It's obviously a very individual thing and it changes a lot as you grow. But I think we also need to be realistic about the fact that like bodies don't stay stagnant.
yeah,
Like they change. Like,
mhm,
you go through phases where you weigh more or phases where you weigh less, or maybe you had a summer where you had a lot of available time, so you wound up exercising more than you did a different year. Like, life happens and you have to like meet yourself where you're at instead of constantly
mm,
be changing, moving the goalpost for yourself. It's one thing to maintain, it's a different thing to be constantly holding yourself to an impossible standard and setting yourself up for failure. Because for sure, I mean, you're just going to torment yourself. And like
yeah,
who wants to live that way?
yeah.
So it's
No,
a
for
it's a
sure.
tough thing and it's very individual. I know everybody's got a different approach to it. I'm forcing myself to be nice to myself when I really don't want to be.
I mean, sometimes it is just, like, fake it till you make it, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And, it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do to make it through the day, and even if it's like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine where you're just forcing yourself to smile, even if you don't feel happy, it's like forcing myself to say something nice to myself,
Mhm.
even if I don't believe it or want to say it.
Mhm.
Like, eventually, it will become a habit, and it'll be second nature to be like, "Hey, those pants don't fit, but, baby said my name today," or,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I'm
My
like I'm not.
spouse, like, hugged me in the way that, like, always makes me smile, but, like, I've
Mhm.
never told them that that's the way that I love to be hugged or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I am trying to, instead of being upset with my body for the way it looks right now and the way it's responding to this phase, I'm trying to be respectful of the fact that my body grew a whole fucking other human and then had that human being cut out of it and then recovered from that surgery.
Yeah,
So I think that instead of framing it in like I'm really unhappy with the way I'm looking at my clothes are fitting and how I feel right now, um, I need to give my body the opportunity to recover from all the work that it's done in the last, year and a half.
and your body deserves time to recover. Like,
Right.
you deserve the time to recover, and you
Yes.
you don't have to earn that.
And how many times have we had the conversation about toxic productivity
Yep,
and feeling like you need to earn rest?
right.
Because I'm for sure one of those people.
And I think it's very easy, especially when it comes to body image, to think that you don't deserve rest if your body isn't exactly how you think it should be in that moment.
Yes. And you know, I've also talked about being in a phase where there's like always something for me to be doing.
Mhm.
It is hard to be forgiving and allow yourself to rest when you I mean, I've always been one of those people that always had like a running to-do list of like things that I would do to keep myself busy as like almost like a stimming with
Mhm.
hyperactivity. But being in a phase where like, no, I really do like if I don't make formula, this kid won't eat tomorrow. And if I don't wash all this stuff and have these bottles
But
ready,
I'm the bad guy.
yeah, what just getting maligned. So no, it really is like there always are like a million things to do, put laundry away or whatever else. So
Yeah.
I think that it's it is life is exhausting right now in this season.
Yeah.
And it is work every day. Because this relationship with your body image is always changing. Like I'm in a phase right now where it is in flux and I have to work on it actively every day to try and keep myself from going into like a spiral. And I'm sure some of that is Zoloft too. That,
Oh, totally.
being on antidepressants, I have the space to be logical
Also can
and more
contribute
forgiving.
to making it hard to lose weight.
You know what? That's a good point that I had not considered until right now.
Me too. I definitely forgot to mention it. But it's
Well,
true, it's
yes.
that kind
Yeah,
of thing
yeah.
and,
No.
or taking birth control. I mean, because I was so heavy, I had to change my birth control to one that has higher progesterone levels.
Mhm.
I'm now at the point where I probably don't need to be on one with a higher progesterone level, but having that higher progesterone level is making it where I'm, like, running up against a plateau a bit, and I have to be more deliberate with the choices that I'm making.
Mhm.
Um, and it's the kinda thing where the next time I go to my gynecologist, I'll just ask to go back on a different med, like, it's fine.
Mhm.
But, you know, different medications that you're on can affect your whether you're retaining water or making it more difficult to lose weight. It just kind of is what it is. Like, I think I
Yeah.
gained 10 or 15 pounds when I started Lexapro 6 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, and that was a low
Yeah, I
dose.
forgot about
It's
that.
just any number of those things can affect, what your body is doing with what it has.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, it's like I've got, PCOS, which I've talked about on the pod
Yes.
before, which makes it very difficult to, drop weight. Plus, I'm a woman in my mid-30s. Like,
Yeah.
all of these hormonal changes that I have going on postpartum, um, plus it's wintertime, and
Yeah.
I've got a child that really, truly prefers to be held all of the time.
Well, and
Um
when your sleep cycle's disrupted, your cortisol levels go up. Cortisol makes you
Right,
retain water. All of
right.
these things that we've talked about over the years of doing this podcast. Wow, years.
So exciting.
But, all of those things, they can like come together and it's so hard to remember them.
Yes, yeah.
And like like we both just forgot about Zoloft.
Here I am like, the Zoloft's really keeping me from spiraling. Okay, but the Zoloft is also
It's also keeping you
helping
a
make
bit
sure.
thick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Helping make sure your pants don't fit again. And the ADHD thing, so I have started counting calories, but I use an app that also does like nutritional check-ins and stuff too, so it's not
Oh
just.
yeah, you said it was like good job eating an orange or something
Oh yeah,
or
it positive pattern detected
oh,
and it
eating
was
cheese. Yeah.
good job eating cheese. Yeah, is what it told
You
me.
have a cheese habit.
Yes. Um the app that I use, I have started, keeping track of things and found myself immediately weighing myself every day. And every time I had a slight uptick, I was like, motherfucker, it's not working.
Mm,
And I had to be like, okay, you have been back in it for like a week. You need to calm down.
yeah.
Um,
PK is really good about not weighing himself at home. It's wild. He
Good for
won't get
him.
weighed unless he's at the doctor's office. I know.
There's people like that,
Evidently.
and he leaves his phone on ring? What? I can't even who is he?
He hasn't since we've moved in, he's been keeping his phone on vibrate. Um,
Thank
so
God.
I'll give him that, but he does still set alarms on the weekends. And so we've had to like just like anything else, like there's like those adjustment periods where you really figure out like what works for you guys when you're living together. But
Yeah.
he went to a hockey game in New York City a couple weekends ago and came back that night. So he got home at like 2-ish, 2:30. And so we were talking for a little bit when he got home. And so we didn't go to bed until like 3:30 or 4.
Ugh.
And then his alarm went off at 6, but it was like that nuclear holocaust noise. And so it went off and I woke up, of course. So then I'm like scrolling my phone so I can go back to sleep. And he only snoozed it. So it went off again like
Oh
7
my
minutes later.
I
And I
cannot
was like, "Are you kidding me?" I
I
was
think I would
so
have thrown him
mad.
down the stairs. Like, it no, that
Like,
I'm that ringtone should be illegal.
I think it is.
It should be illegal.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it was especially on the weekend. Like, it's the kind of thing like, that's not even his ringtone for waking up during the work week.
I
So,
can
like,
that
he
is
used, like, an old alarm for when he had his old job and had, like, 7 different alarms because he was leaving for work at 5:30 in the morning. And, but yeah. So, like, he doesn't even use that during the week. So, the fact that it was that like, if it was his normal thing, I'd be, like, annoyed, but it wouldn't be as jarring. And so yeah, when it when I realized he had only snoozed it, he hadn't turned it off, I was like, "We're not doing this." Like, turn off your fucking phone. But then at that point, I was like, awake, awake. So, whatever.
that for sure would have sent me into an emotional dysregulation rage. Um, yeah, I can't wrap my head around not weighing myself at home, and I am trying to be better about it and do it less.
Mm,
Um, but at the same time, I'm like impatient. Like I'm like,
yes.
no, but I
Yeah.
want I want to be back to how I was.
Well, and I want results. I wanna know that what I'm doing right now
Is
is the
working.
right thing. Like, I
Right.
need that affirmation.
Right.
And I need it in like, from an external source that's, like, somewhat objective, I guess, or
Yeah.
something, like,
I need to see
there's
it.
just, like, something about it where I'm like, I don't know, like, yeah, I'm again, like, I'm better at it not letting it affect me too much, but there are times, like, I'll step on this like, I'll be down suddenly, and I'm like, "Okay, finally," like, busted through whatever was, like,
Right. Yeah.
being retained, and then, like, I'll go back up just as quickly, and then settle back down again, but it's like this yo-yo thing where I go back up and I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute, like, I did not eat anything to justify that, like, fuck you."
Right.
Um, and so, like, I still catch myself in those moments. It's not nearly as bad as when I was on Weight Watchers, but it's still I can get into that habit pretty quickly if I'm not careful.
For sure. And my spouse is very good about like, I'll be like, oh my God, I'm up 2 pounds. And he'll look at me, he's like, it is physically impossible for what you ate yesterday to made you to
Like,
make you
you
gain 2 pounds.
yeah,
Like,
you can't actually have gained 2 pounds of
right.
weight. Yeah.
Right. So sometimes he has to like remind me of that. But I think also I can keep my mind in a healthier place if I'm making forward progress.
Yes. Yeah.
Even if it's the tiniest little fraction of a pound,
Yes.
or I've
It's
I've
true.
I've been under calorie, or
Mhm.
within my nutritional goals or whatever for a week. um it just makes it so much more manageable. It is very hard to like keep that up when you're having setbacks.
I wonder how
um
much of that is because we were late diagnosed ADHD. So, like, getting that external recognition is really how I measured my own success my whole life.
yeah,
So, I wonder if that's tied into that.
I mean, it's kind of like when you were a kid and you'd get a C on something that you worked really hard on, and they'd be like, but you tried your best. And as a kid, you're like, fuck you. I know I tried my best, but that's not the grade I wanted.
Yeah. Or,
Instead of now,
like,
I can be like, but I legitimately worked really hard and tried my best.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
it's
Um,
Progress, not perfection, but
also for everyone else, not
also I
me.
want it.
Yeah.
But I want it now.
Like, what's his face? Billy Newport or whatever
Bobby
from
Newport. Yeah, yeah,
Bobby
yeah, yeah.
Newport. Come on, give it to me.
Come on. Yeah, no, that's
I want
exactly
it
it.
though. And
But I
like
saw what
later
it
on,
looked
he's like,
like.
"Oh yeah, what was that thing we did?"
Yeah. Remember when I was cute and tan and freckled and skinny? Can I go back to that I wanna go back right now. Yeah. It is really hard, and, it's a lifelong struggle having a good relationship with your body and mentally being kind enough
Yeah.
and resilient enough to not punish yourself for things that you shouldn't be punished for.
Yeah, things that have no bearing on your value as a person,
Right.
and your your worth.
Yeah. It's really hard.
It is hard, but we're here with you guys, whether you like it or not, but hopefully you like it.
Like a bad penny. Or like my fupa that won't go away. You're welcome.
I was I was trying to think of an F word to be like some like instead of like the Fupa sisters, but like I can't say the Fupa Fisters. That's not right.
You definitely can't. No. No.
But I did.
Surprised you didn't go back to moose knuckle immediately.
No. We're the Fupa Fisters, and we're here with you reporting live from pants that are too tight. Aren't you glad you agreed to do a podcast with me?
We're here from Soft Clothes USA.
Oh, I'll send you the link to one of the pairs of pants that I got from Dick's though, because they're like, I didn't think they were gonna be like this, but they're like like sweatpant material, but they were billed as golf pants.
Literally wearing
Ideal.
sweatpants right now.
They're so nice. And they have like a
Only
seam down
sweatpants.
the front of the leg, so they're like it like draws your eye
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
narrowly. I'll send you the link to those because they're nice.
I will say,
And they were on sale.
I have ranted about Old Navy's leggings at least 100 times because they have great leggings that last for fucking ever. But man, if you get them once, you're never going to find them again. The exact leggings.
I'll also send you a link to a pair of like a 3-pack of leggings that I get periodically. Amazing on Amazon.
Okay. I got a
They're
pair of
like thin. They're not like the craziest, but they are squat proof as long as you're not wearing like patterned underwear.
Mhm.
You're fine. But yeah, they're the leggings I always wear at work.
I got a pair of maternity leggings from Old Navy, and they are just the right thickness, just the right amount of compression. They're so fucking comfortable. They don't slide down. And I have gotten like 3 pairs of leggings since then to try and get the same ones, and I can't fucking find them. And Old Navy, when they send you an email confirmation, when you
Mhm.
click it, it doesn't link you to the website for the item that you bought, which
What?
also should be illegal. Like, when you normally get an email confirmation and you click it and it's a link,
Yeah.
each thing in the order confirmation
Yeah.
links you. Old Navy's doesn't. So you can't like click it and open a link and go to the exact listing.
That's annoying.
Yeah. It's super annoying. I think Gap's the same way because it's like the same website or whatever. So yeah, it's really frustrating because I can't find the exact leggings and they have 2 holes in them. 2
You
little
know the
holes
other
that have
place that I
started.
get like good leggings and also workout pants from is BJ's. Like their clothing section.
I don't want to admit how many items I have bought from BJ's recently.
As long as you're not getting like the sweatsuit with like the cats playing with balls of yarn like ironed onto the front of
Not
the crew
quite.
neck sweatshirt, you're
Not
fine.
quite.
Yeah.
Um
Although that would be a fun theme party. Only clothes that you bought at BJ's.
I mean, I could do it now. Literally at any moment.
I
Give
would
me
definitely
5 minutes
go
and I can
and
do
get
it.
one of those sweatsuits just for that party.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's rough times. It's rough times finding clothes that fit Like, I'm almost, like, in maternity clothes, or, like, sometimes I'll buy maternity clothes, but, like, I don't wanna be in maternity clothes.
Yeah.
So it's just
Do those
it's
linen pants
it's a
that you like
journey.
fit you again?
Nothing the maternity ones that I bought that, like, work for postpartum?
I don't
Probably
know.
not, but I haven't
I thought
tried
they were
them.
from Quince, but they might
I
not have
had
been.
those. There's absolutely 0 chance that they'll fit me right now.
Oh, okay.
I might be able to get them to my knees.
Cool.
I did feel a little bit better. I went for a massage recently, and she was doing, like, a fascia release,
Oh,
which,
isn't
was
that, like,
so
painful?
painful, I was sweating. Super effective, though, and she did say to me, she's also a trainer, and she was like, "You've got really good muscle tone." I was like, "Thank you."
Hell yeah,
I was
girl.
like, once upon a time before I had a baby, I used to weightlift a lot. She was like, "Yeah, I can tell you're like," she said, "You're really solid. Like, you have very good muscle tone still." And I was like,
There you
"Thank you so
go.
much." And then she goes, "Are you a singer?" And I was like, "No." She do have She's like, "You have really good lung capacity." I was like
That's
again,
because my ribs are flared out.
it's because my body's so fucked up. Yeah,
I'm
it's
misshapen.
I'm like a Mr. Potato Head that got put together wrong. It's
You,
like
like,
Mr.
left it in
Potato
your
Head.
hot car and it kinda melted.
Yes, you
That
put the
one.
feet on backwards, so they're just, like, not seated correctly. Um, yeah, I was like, "These are compliments that I didn't know I needed.
There
Thank
are
you."
times, like, I'm not a huge fan of my upper arms at the moment. They're just, like, flabby, I guess. But
I think it's, like, a genetic thing. My upper arms and my calves are, like, too big for my body.
I
Always.
I have I have, like, medical cankles, really, like, it doesn't matter how thin I've ever been, I've just got, like, there's no difference between my ankle and my calf, it just goes straight up,
Yeah, like, there's just certain things I
and
just
it's,
think
like,
are, like, genetic.
so thick, like,
Yeah.
it's just, like and I was looking at my dad one time, and I was like, "Motherfucker, that's where I got these things?
God
I
damn
can't wear
you.
boots." Um, but, yeah, so I was, like, looking at my upper arm, and of course, it's, like, the inner arm, so, like, you can, like, shake it and it, like,
Yeah.
wags in the wind,
Yeah, that's where my
and,
tattoos are.
but I was, like, doing something, I think at the gym maybe? Or, something, and I, like, caught my reflection, and I, like, saw, like, the outline of, like, my tricep, like, on the
Mhm.
middle part of the outside of my arm, and I was like, "Hey, it's in there." But it was,
Yep.
like, those little moments where I'm like, "Okay, I have to, like, cling to that and,
Hints.
like, just
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
that, like, underneath the parts I don't like are parts that I do like and the things, like, that I have been working towards."
Right.
But yeah, it's
And it's not, like, gone forever. Like,
yeah,
the PT will keep saying to me, like, "This is about slowly moving the needle
yeah.
and making improvements over time. Nothing's gonna be fast. Like, it's gonna be very gradual, but you can get back to where you were. It just takes a long time. You just have to be patient with it." I'm like, "But you don't understand. I'm impatient.
I am neurobiologically incapable of patience.
I
So
cannot
now
be
what?
patient.
Yeah.
I need it to happen immediately."
Yes. Which is, if you're on Patreon, you heard about how I immediately packed my suitcase for a trip I'm not taking for 8 months.
Yeah, I mean,
Um
you told me and I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." I was in full support, so
And I was like, "Well, Garrett said it's a good idea, so I have to do it
so
now.
now I
She's
gotta
the
do it
travel
again.
expert."
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good idea because then you know what you're dealing with.
Yes,
So,
exactly. So I just have to double check. Now I'm like now that I'm in again on Patreon, but now that I'm in this TikTok hole, I'm concerned that my book bag that I got for this trip is actually too big to be considered a carry-on, like a personal item.
yeah.
So, yeah, I might end up getting like a specific personal item size duffel.
Well, that's like my away suitcase. I got, like, the universal carry-on size, so it fits,
Yes.
like,
That's the size
every.
that I got for that. Like, it's expandable, which again, like, for our flight home, since it's gonna be checked, I don't care. Like, I'm
Mhm.
packing it without the expansion so that I have that space. But yeah, it's that kind of thing where I'm like, well, if I'm gonna check it, then I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, up to that point. And we're not, at least we might end up doing like a Ryanair or something into Germany, but up to that point, we're taking more major airlines. So the carry-on issue isn't as big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're really cracking down on the size of your personal item. Um, so I don't want to risk it. So,
Yeah. It's
you know,
there's a lot of factors to consider at all times.
yep. But
Um,
don't worry, it keeps me from focusing on anything else that needs to get done, like laundry or vacuuming or anything.
hey, you know what? At least you are not hyper focusing on your body in the mirror and picking yourself apart,
Not yet.
figuratively and literally.
That's true.
Um,
This
make
is a
sure
good topic.
to
I liked this
Yeah,
episode.
I thought it was a good thing to like specifically touch base on. We've kind of touched base on it.
Tangentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought it would be good like this time of year especially, and I feel like it's
Yeah.
been we have both undergone like very different but drastic physical changes, especially
Mhm.
recently. So I was like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
thought this was very topical."
No, you're right.
Um, make sure to follow us on Instagram at the bar is ankle high.
Yep. Same handle on
And
Threads.
oh yeah,
And
threads.
we're on TikTok at Ankle High Pod.
And that's the same as our Twitter handle, right? Ankle high pod.
I don't know. I don't use Twitter. I use Threads now. So
Oh, it's not even Twitter anymore. It's X. Don't
it's
listen to me.
Zitter. Yeah.
Just made me think of muff jokes again. Um, and leave us a 5-star review, especially on Apple Podcasts, or
Yep.
else.
Yeah. If you write it out, it's way more helpful for, I don't know, the algorithm gods in Silicon Valley or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But super helpful. Definitely do that. And you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/the bars ankle high if you want ad-free episodes, extended cut episodes, where we talk more about like our personal lives and like what's going on with us. And then also video episodes is only on Patreon, and you get added to our close friends list on Instagram. And we have merch at bit.ly/ankle high merch. And yeah, I guess until next week.
This is truly be kind to yourself.
Yeah, like really actually be kind to yourself, guys. Um,
And if
and
you're not,
maybe
step away
compliment
from
a
the puffs.
stranger. Yeah.
I do that sometimes too.
Yeah. Compliment a stranger because you never know how much they might need it.
100%. Like if I see a really cool skirt or pants or shoes or cool hair or a cool bag, I will tell you in person. I even tell people when they smell good, and my spouse really hates it. But you know what? If I have a nice perfume on, I want somebody to tell me I smell good.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, be be free with compliments,
Yeah.
including to yourself,
Especially to yourself.
because the bar
'Cause
is ankle high.
yeah.